The grammar school originally started with the idea of Floreat College being a college and grammar school being a feeder to the college. So really, grammar school was originally started in 1826. But the project to have the school being a feeder for the college didn't work out. So the CMS went back to the drawing board and they separated the two. And then the grammar school was born in 1845.
It evolved through several phases. Initially, they were teaching things like agriculture and local languages and all that. But then it evolved into a grammar school modeled after the grammar schools in the English tradition.
People came from all over West Africa. It was the first sub-Saharan secondary/high school in West Africa.
There's a lot of alumni all over the west coast of Africa. I've met a few from Nigeria and some from Ghana. As soon as you mention the grammar school, they know about it.
So people came from Nigeria, you know, the colonies, the British colonies, Nigeria, Ghana, Gambia. The first group of people were mostly foreign people who attended the school.
And some of these fellows ended up at Floreat College as well, which again was at one time referred to as the Athens of West Africa, where a lot of young men came to get their education and then moved on to other things and became leaders. People like Nnamdi Azikiwe and all these other leaders in West Africa actually came to Sierra Leone to get their education.
Most of them served as civil servants to the colonial British government along the West Coast in the other British colonies at the time, like Nigeria, the Ghana, and the Gambia.
The school was founded first, built in Regent. That's why the name Regentonia has been part of our historical legacy.
The school was like an old barracks kind of setup. You get about a dozen single-story buildings located around a central track and field, soccer field type of field, not a stadium, just a playing field, with about 2 classrooms in each building. From Floreat to Moritown, the present location, and it was a big occasion, celebration to make that move, and they organized a picnic at Moritown by the site of the new school, and the whole village was involved. So many homes were occupied for the celebration. We had a parade in full with band marching from the Cotton Tree to St. John's roundabout, and then we boarded buses and vans to Moritown village and spent the rest of the day feasting, eating and dancing.
They had just relocated to Moritown in the year 1962. So we met a pretty new school. The desks were new. This school had just been built. The labs were new, the chemistry lab, physics lab.
Everything was brand new. The buildings, the furniture, the laboratories were first-class laboratories, well equipped.
The school was well equipped. We had arts class, we had music room, we had film room. I mean, everything was spick and span. We went to a very brand new modern school.
Those were the glorious days of education in Sierra Leone.
The Sierra Leone Grammar School, to me, is a unique institution in terms of education. The reason being that when I was at the Sierra Leone Grammar School, you can tell that among our schools, we are the creme de la creme.
A good, rounded, quality education and comradeship. The school teaches you to bond together with other of your peers.
I developed some of my lifelong friends at the school. You see, I'm still in touch with most of my friends, and the support at the school, the academic support that is at the school
foundation that I got from the grammar school has helped me tremendously through my career.
We had good teachers, and the school was one of the top in the country. And that's what the school is at present. So it's always been at the top.
There is a spirit of the Regentonian that gets into you when you attend this school. I've talked with other people from other schools. They said the grammar school boy, he will go to Harvard, he will go to Yale, he will go to MIT, Oxford, or Cambridge. But when you ask him what school he attended, he will tell you I attended the grammar school. There is a spirit that comes into you when you attend the grammar school, and that spirit lives with you for the rest of your life.
The school was based on Christian principles and teach you about attitudes, disposition, the way you behave and treat others, and give you a good sense of responsibility and help you to become kind of a model citizen, which is something that the country can benefit more from.
Like many other good mission schools we have in Sierra Leone, grammar school puts out an enviable standard of learning. But the thing that makes grammar school different is its long history of tradition.
Most of the people I've talked to about the grammar school, they said they have never seen people who love their school so much. They don't talk about their universities, they only talk about their school.
Grammar school boy, the Regentonian, has a love for the school that's always unique. It's as if it's where on the day you were initiated into the school, penny day.
Penny day where they give you 1 cent. And from that day, after they whip you during the penny day, the spirit of grammar school would call it the Regentonian. You become part of a group. There was a period of time when the status, I would say, of the school was declining. Mr. Relashite took that school from a low ebb and has brought it back to its original grandeur and splendor.
Relashite is an extraordinary principal, an extraordinary educator, and I think his legacy would consist of several things, but I think it would be his devotion to duty, hard work, being a cornerstone of the things he believes in.
He started in 1985, which is the year I left the school. But over that time, there's been a lot of progress, from positive events like the establishment of the new classroom block to other events where the encroachment of the property and finally the school getting it.
I think that man is an asset to that school. He brought so much discipline into the school, and he knows all of us, you see. Even if it's your first day at the school, he tends to know your name.
I do remember this one occasion in which I thought that being a new entrant in the school, I can more or less have my way with regards to teachers and the staff, not knowing that Mr. Lashite, who was the principal back then, was watching me whilst I was more or less acting up. And all of a sudden, he called my name, Joseph Conte, and I was shocked and surprised because I was only been at the school for like 2 months.
Mr. Lashite has left a lasting legacy in that school. This man revived that school.
And he's made a remarkable impact on the life of the school. And it will take a long time to get somebody to fill his shoes. I find him to be a very hardworking, honest, and dedicated principal, and I hope we can get an equal or close to equal replacement to maintain the high standards he's established over the years.
The Alumni Association started after the school became independent from the Sierra Leone government again. back in 2007.
In 7 years' time, this alumni has grown significantly, and we have been able to do great deeds. We're a small group of people. We have not grown in numbers, we have grown in
We're a
deeds.
small group. We're much smaller than all the other associations. However, we've been able to grow the organization and put the necessary effort to accomplish what we set out to.
I feel the role of the Alumni Association in Georgia and in the diaspora and worldwide is so important that we need to give back and try to maintain, if not improve, on the standard of the school, the facilities, as well as the educational academic standard of the school.
And number two, it gives us an opportunity to give back. More so now that these schools in Sierra Leone need us, especially us living in the diaspora.
We supported the school financially, we supported the school with furniture, we've supported the school morally, we've paid numerous visits and trips to the school.
Very appreciative of all the occasions of the Alumni Associations, and more so that of the North America. I, for one, I'm benefiting from a scholarship since S2, and it has been wonderful to me. The fees that will have been used to that and are being utilized properly, and we really appreciate their efforts. Most of us here also are beneficiaries of such opportunities, and the old pupils have not only served financially but morally, because when we see them in the magazines, when we hear of what they do, when we hear of how successful they are living their lives, we do nothing but envy them. That one day, some of us might be in North America sometime.
Ultimately, since we've been focused on our scholarship program, the mission and the goal is to grow that part of the project so that we can continue to provide scholarships to students in the school.
I think that's a very, very wise way to invest our money, because if you invest your money in a young man who would one day in the future become a leader in whatever capacity or category in the country, I believe we would have spent our money very wisely.
And over the next 5 years, our intention is to do, if not 15 to 25% growth, if not larger, so that we continue to give opportunities to students of the school. Additionally, we want to attract newer, younger members, especially students who went to the school after the 80s or the 90s, just to make sure that we have a long-term plan.
We are doing a tremendous work for the school back home, and we are appealing to other grammar school boys to come and help us to do this great, tremendous work that God has helped us to do.
I think that education is the only way that we can take children out of the doldrums, because everything has been tried with regards to resources, services, and it all boils down to education, because without the primary education being the foundation for everybody, we cannot progress as a nation.
Without education, any form of education, it could be formal, it could be practical education, you will not be able to function in the workplace. You can be an apprentice and learn to work as a carpenter, as a mason, as a lawyer, as a doctor. You could be an apprentice and become one of these things, or go to a formal education.
Desire.
So it prepares you for work.
To learn and to broaden your horizon.
Historically, we've had an excellent national education from the incept of the grammar school, and throughout history. We've seen that decline, and in order to build a nation, you have to start from the primary and go to the secondary to build a workforce well-educated to go forward into the future. And first and foremost, this cause that we are undertaking is not necessarily about one particular school or the grammar school or any other school for that matter. It is an education cause that definitely affects the lives of the young generation or the next generation or future generation.
Some people them in the block say they know they was sweet soda soap. Some people them in the block say they know they was sweet soda.